Oh, hello. My name is Mara, and welcome to Books Like Whoa. Alrighty guys, it is time for my mid-month July check-in for my reading. This July, I am kicking ass. I am taking names. I have just been on a roll. Some of it is that I've been finishing up a couple of books that I had in progress, but I'm filming this on the 13th and I've already read 12 books. Girl, how? Some of those were caveats. Some of those were really short, fluffy things. That's part of why. But I've just been in a real mood to read. I think because I'm finally to the point where I have very few things that I have to read, it is opening things up a little bit more for me. So I'm definitely I do still have things that I have to read or really want to get to or whatever, within the confines of challenges. But specifically, I don't have nearly as many arcs that I have to be getting to. I'm in a good place with that in terms of how much time I still have to read them. And most of the arcs that I have left are not that substantial. There's a couple of heavier ones, but most of them are light rom-com kind of things, which are a lot easier for me to kind of slot in. So all that being said, I feel I've just been on a roll and I'm in a real reading mood. So with that being said, let me talk to you a little bit about what I've already gotten read this month, and then we will talk about what I'm currently reading and what I might read next, and we will also address the reading rush of it all, TBR wise, and why I think I'm not going to do the reading rush this year. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, let's dive in. Okay. In terms of things that I have already read, I have a pretty good little list going and a good variety. So first, most notably, I did finish The Hunchback of Notre Dame last night, actually. I finished it on Friday night, and the live show is Sunday, which when you are watching this was yesterday. So there is going to be an entire live show about my thoughts on this book on this channel. So I'm mostly just going to refer you to that, and I will say that I did not love this. I liked it, and I definitely found it very thought-provoking. I think now, having read this as an adult, I am convinced I must have read just the abridged version of this as a kid, because I do not remember there being so much drag. And I probably wouldn't recommend this to somebody who's trying to get into classics. I would say this is maybe one that I would save once you kind of know that you like this type of book. That being said, there's some just beautiful, iconic parts of this. I see why it's a classic, but I don't know that it's a super friendly point of entry. But that being said, it definitely celebrates the building of Notre Dame, and that was part of why I was doing this, was, kind of for Bastille Day and celebrating that beautiful building, which has suffered such a wound. I think if with that being kind of the impetus for this totally fulfilled that urge. So anyway, you can check out the full live stream if you want. And yeah, I thank everybody who participated. It was really fun. I enjoyed doing the read along part of this, and frankly, I don't know if I would have finished this if I hadn't been doing a read along with all of y'all. So I really appreciate that, and I hope you guys enjoyed participating. I've gotten a lot of requests of let's do this again, pick another book. I definitely foresee myself doing something like this again with a classic. I don't know that that's going to be any time in the immediate future, but stay tuned. I'm totally open to doing something like this again, because it was a lot of fun. A couple of other things that I read that were kind of disappointing, and both of these I think I will talk about more at a later time. So first of all, 1222 by Anne Holt is an isolated closed circle mystery set in a snowed-in hotel after there is a train crash in the snow. I think that this is in Norway. And I am real sad that I did not like this. I ended up giving it 2 stars. I think in August, my review theme is going to be snowed in trains. So I'm going to pause here and just give you my full rundown later. This book, I would still recommend to people to try. I just really did not connect with it. So I ended up not really liking it that much, which was a bummer, because this was one of the isolated closed circle mysteries I was most excited to get to, but just not my personal favorite. And then this one is, I need to just I don't know quite how to talk about why I didn't love this as much as I really hoped to. And that is, my favorite thing is monsters. I finally finished this and I need to collect my thoughts, but I ended up giving this 3 stars. I didn't think it was bad, and I can completely see how there are people who would love this. There's something about this that just didn't quite come together for me as a cohesive book. So I want to sit on my thoughts a little bit more, and I think I'll probably talk about this at my end of the month wrap up. A couple other things that I thought were fine, and maybe I'll talk about later more, but just like for now, I'll just tell you I thought they were fine. One was Bird Box, so I listened to the audio for that. I am reading that one as a part of a challenge that I'm doing, which I think you guys will hear about either in late July or early August. And I liked it. I can completely see why people love that book so much. Like, I get it. It just wasn't, I think for me, it didn't work as a book. I think I would have liked it better as a novella or a short story. And I do actually want to not read the movie. I want to watch the movie because I think that's honestly when I was reading it, I was like, this feels very cinematic. Like I think that the idea here is super cool and the writing was fine. It just was, I just don't think it fully worked as a complete novel for me. So I ended up giving 3.5 stars. I really I would totally recommend it. I see why people really like it. It just wasn't my personal like all-time fave, but yeah, it was fine. And then How to Hack a Heartbreak by Kristin Rockaway was kind of a surprise to me. So it was a women's lit / chick lit masquerading as a romance. Like it had a lot of romance DNA in it. So I ended up liking this quite a bit more than I usually like that type of book. I also really love that it's basically about a woman in STEM. So it's a woman who's in technology and IT. She's a coder and she's just getting like shit on basically at work all the time because she's like the help desk for a IT startup like cooperative or whatever. It's so I'm like, oh god, girl, like get out of there. It's awful. And she just like is having horrible dating site experiences, and so she ends up creating this website about like, I think it was called jerkalert.com, where you can report guys who like send you dick pics or like stand you up from a dating app, like, and it blows up in ways she wasn't expecting it to. She has like a romantic interest with one of the guys at work, and a lot of this book is about her like dealing with misogyny in the tech industry, and I love that. There's a lot of like strong female friendships. It didn't fully, like, it's just not my, this is, you know what, this is sort of similar to Bird Box. It just isn't quite my like kind of book. Like it doesn't have my ideal like tone to it, or I don't know, like chick lit is always a little bit tricky for me. So I don't know, it wasn't something that I loved, but I would definitely recommend it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was really fun, and I really did like the kind of women in the modern dating scene and a woman in STEM as sort of the people at the heart of it. And it had enough romance DNA that I could go along with it. You know, the thing that really kept this from being a 4-star for me is that there's a lesson that the book wants you to think that the heroine needs to learn about like her needing to trust people more. And I'm like, no. She was making completely reasonable conclusions based on the evidence that she had. And I don't think she needed to learn that she was being paranoid. I think that she like had maybe she needed to learn to like ask more questions or like listen, but I don't know. But I think that bothered me a little bit. But other than that, it was perfect. Like, I think this is a great like travel read. Like, this is a great thing to pass some time on the plane or, you know, on the beach or wherever. Like, this is a really fun, like, great summer read. I would recommend. And I think that one comes out on July 30th, so you should be able to get that pretty soon. A few things that I liked better, that I liked really well, and one thing that I loved. So some things that I enjoyed. All He Wants for Christmas by Kati Wilde. This is the book that officially has me saying Kati Wilde is a new favorite contemporary romance author for me. I really love the way she does her contemporary novellas. She has a lot of Christmas themed ones, and I've liked or really liked all of them. And I don't know, she often has this thing where the heroine is the one who has either money or social power, and the hero is the one who often has like some version of like physical power. Like in this case, he's a cop and she is like a socialite basically. And she does that a lot. And I actually really like the way she plays with those kind of power dynamics. Yeah, what she does really works for me. I think, you know, obviously your mileage may vary. It's not going to be for everyone, but I really like her. And also you'll notice I have this in physical form because I'm trying to get better about buying indie authors' physical books, just because I don't know, you don't get to see them physically all that often, I feel like, on the web. So I really like Kati Wilde, so I'm trying to, you know, grab the paperbacks of hers that I can find of the books of hers that I like. So I like this. I gave this 4 stars. Another book I gave 4 stars to was I Capture the Castle, which was my reading mug, which is right here. Hey, look, they match. My reading mug pick for last month. And I, again, really liked this. The narrator of this book has to be one of the most charming narrative voices I have ever encountered. And I 100% understand why this is considered to be such a classic coming of age novel, because like, Yeah, she's just so, I don't know, she's so like wise beyond her years, but also so pretentious. Not like, don't like, let me be clear that this is not a one-to-one comparison, but there's something in her that kind of reminds me of the type of narrator that Adrienne Mole is in those books by Sue Townsend. Just in terms of like, yes, there's definitely some like precociousness, like a child who is wise beyond their years, to it, but there's also some level of like the pretension of youth, and I just think that Dodie Smith captures that really lovely. I think what kept this from being something I loved is that the story itself I wasn't always wild about, but it is really funny, and I appreciate how funny, like the moments of humor. I appreciate the like kind of lessons about like emerging into adulthood. And I think that this is actually a great, like maybe at some point I'll do this video, a great comparison of the difference between a coming of age novel and a YA novel, because I do think they are slightly different. A lot of it has to do with marketing and sort of like what the expectations for the audience is. But anyway, I would really recommend this. If you're somebody who likes YA or like YA novels or coming of age novels and you've never read this, you 100% should. And I think if you're somebody who tends to like just generally like general fiction or like literature, like classic lit or whatever, I think that this is a book that you would really like if you've not gotten to it yet. Side note, Dodie Smith is also the author of 101 Dalmatians. So there you go. 2 iconic books by her. But anyway, I'm super glad that I finally got to this. This is one of the books that probably has been most recommended to me, like as something that I specifically would really like. And I totally see why. This is just charming, delightful, would recommend, 4 stars. Oh, and then one other one that I would recommend that I gave 4 stars to was The Widow of Pale Harbor by Hester Fox. This is coming out sometime in September, and I think that this is a great sophomore novel from her. She wrote The Witch of Willow Hall last year, and I really liked that as sort of a gothic romantic suspense. And that one was set in a creepy rural New England town. This is also set in a creepy rural New England town. And there's just like a lot of sort of spooky light atmosphere. These are very atmospheric novels. I don't know that this one, the romance worked quite as well for me. And I think trope, well, I don't know. There were things that I liked better about this and things that I liked less about this than The Witch at Willow Hall. I think that they're roughly about the same quality, which, hey, for your second novel ever, I think that's doing pretty good. I love the shout out to some of the religious movements that were happening at the time, just because it like threw me back to when I was teaching that in grad school. So there's like a lot of talk about like transcendental philosophy at this time and like Unitarianism and stuff like that, which is definitely like a big thing that was happening in New England in this period of history. So I thought that was really cool. There's a serial killer mystery plot to this, which I think a lot of people will really like, that's based on Edgar Allan Poe stories. So like if you like that kind of mystery plot where there's a serial killer who's following like a set pattern, I think you would like this as well. Yeah, I just think that this is really fun. And I think if you're looking for something to read in October, I would definitely recommend this. I think it is definitely quite atmospheric. It feels like you feel very foggy and sort of like ooky spooky the whole time. So I would definitely recommend it. I gave it 4 stars. Look for that coming in the fall. And then the book that I loved was Sapphire Flames by Ilona Anders. Oh, it was so good, guys. It made me really happy. I gave it 4.5 stars. I'm gonna do a full video review of this on the day it is released, which is 8/27. And I don't want to say too much more because like just based on it sounded like what they wanted in terms of the promotion. I don't want to get into too many details, but if you love the Hidden Legacy series, I do not think you're going to be disappointed by this. I really like Catalina as our new narrator. This is a different kind of romantic dynamic than we saw with Connor and with Nevada, for sure. This is Catalina and Alessandro, and I don't know, like this is setting up for some like a much higher level of angst in this one, which isn't normally my thing, but it's Ilona Anders, so it doesn't matter, and they handle it so well. I also really like, I think we get some allusions to like a bigger political sphere in this one. Like we get some more peeks behind the curtain in terms of what's going on in the broader world, which I really enjoyed. Also, we get an allusion to something that I'm really excited to see when that hits the fan. So anyway, I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4.5 stars. I also read the novella Diamond Fire on the last day of June, and it didn't make it into my June wrap up. I also really like that. It's like a classic mystery plot novella with a fantasy element to it, which was really good. I gave that 4 stars. So like, and now I just have to wait till next year, whenever, to get my next one. But I really enjoyed it. I think if you like that series, if you like Ilona Andrews, you're not going to be disappointed. These are really good. So that was the best thing I've read so far. And then I do have a couple of things in progress. So Becoming by Michelle Obama is my audiobook right now. I'm almost done with it. And it's really good, guys. That's not a hot take. Everybody who's been reading that has been really enjoying it. And I totally agree. I do agree with the sentiment that I think the front half is stronger than the back half. I think I don't know. I mean, I can understand. I think that she has a certain level of sort of like reserve or, not wanting to give too much away when she gets to, certain parts of her life. And that makes sense to me. It does to me as a book, knock it down a little bit. But she has an amazing, I really like her authorial voice. I've been listening to the audio, so I'm hearing her read it, and she does a really good job with that. I had to wait, I think 5 months at the library for this book. For whatever reason, I refused to just go to Scribd and get it. I was like, no, I'm going to wait it out like everybody else. So when it finally came, I was excited, and it was worth the wait. It was very good. So I think, barring some crazy turn of events, I think that this is going to end up being a 4-star read for me. So I'm in the middle of that one right now. When I'm done, my next audio pick is going to be The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. Oh, which reminds me, I totally forgot to tell you guys about one of the best books that I read. Duh. Okay, sorry. So the next book on audio that I'm going to read is Joe Abercrombie's The Blade Itself. That's a part of a reading challenge. Also, I'm really excited because it's been on my TBR, and this is one of Leanna from Leanna's Library's favorite books ever. And so I'm excited to get into it and see what she thinks about it. I'm also excited for it because I read The Dragon Republic in the first half of the month and loved it. I'm just in the mood for grimdark fantasy right now, or just epic fantasy in general. I've been watching a lot of World Hoppers, which I didn't know was a thing. I fell down this rabbit hole because on Murphy Napier's channel, Daniel Green was on there. I've never heard of him, liked him, started watching some of his videos. Then YouTube started recommending me World Hoppers, and I was like, I know everyone on here except for Elliot Brooks, who I've heard of before, and I like all these people, so why have I not been watching this? And now I need to go watch Elliot Brooks. Anyway, all of that to say, there's been a lot of fantasy booktube watching happening for me, which I think is also enhancing my fantasy mood, but that was cemented by the fact that The Dragon Republic is really good, guys. It took me a while to get through it, I had to kind of make my way through it because it is dark. I'm gonna say that The Dragon Republic is darker than The Poppy War. I would say also it has some of the same pacing issues that The Poppy War does in terms of the middle gets a little but I would tell you, I think the highs in The Dragon Republic are higher than the highs in The Poppy War. But I think that The Poppy War overall was probably a little bit more, I don't know. I gave both of them 4 stars, and I really enjoyed both. And the ending of The Dragon Republic is amazing. I think the ending of The Poppy War is also really good, but the mic drop at the end of The Dragon Republic, I was just like, girl, I have to wait till next year to get the next book. I cannot. So anyway, so that was awesome. I really recommend that book. If you enjoyed The Poppy War, side note, these books are so brutal. They're grimdark fantasy. They're fucking intense. If you do not want to read about stabbiness, if you do not want to read a book where the author will kill major characters without blinking, don't read these books, because I think in my Goodreads review, I was like, she's coming for your wig, she's coming for your wife, she's coming for your patio furniture. She is not afraid. She is coming for everything you got. Be ready to be devastated by this book, but it's really good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited for people to read it and start kind of talking about it. So yeah, 4 stars. Again, to me, both of these books do have significant structural issues that I think keeps it from being a 4.5 level thing for me. But I'm gonna guess that this is gonna be one of those series, kind of like Monstrous, at least for me, where each individual book is 4 stars, but the whole, I'm gonna guess, is gonna end up being a 4.5 star, the whole being greater than the sum of its parts kind of a thing. So anyway, I totally forgot to talk about that earlier in talking about The Blade Itself, which is also a very grimdark fantasy, made me think of that. But anyway, all that to say, I read The Dragon Republic. My next audio pick is gonna be The Blade Itself. The other things that I have to or need to read for this month include 2 books that are a part of challenges, kind of like The Blade Itself. One is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, which has gotten nothing but the highest praise here on BookTube. I have some trepidations about this, which I will talk about in the challenge video that I do about this, but all that to say, even if I have like some philosophical reservations about this, I am 99% sure that I'm going to be very charmed by this just based on how much everybody loves it. So that's one thing I'm going to read for an unnamed challenge. Another thing I'm going to read for an unnamed challenge is The Lovely and the Lost by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. As a matter of fact, I think this is probably the book that I'm going to polish off this afternoon because it sounds good to me. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes based mostly on the fact that she wrote the Natural series, which is one of my all-time favorites. And yeah. Excited to get to this as a part of a challenge. I have a buddy read with Leanna on Radiance by Catherynne and Valente. I need to ask her when she wants to do this. Kind of hoping she wants to do this soon. But so this is sort of like a speculative fiction genre mashup kind of thing with like an alternative Hollywood in space is kind of the vibe I get. I am really hoping that I like this a lot better than space opera because Catherynne and Valente is somebody who's like the project of what she does I really like, and I'm glad it exists in the world. I want to like this, and I think that this will fit in what I was saying earlier of just like being in kind of a fantasy-ish type mood. I think this will feed into that, so I'm really hoping that that's something I like. Also, things I need to read is I still have 2 in-death books that I should get through this month. One is Indulgence in Death and one is Treason in Death, I believe. I was supposed to read Indulgence in Death last month and just didn't get around to it. And I think I got like 10% in and kind of stalled. I don't know why, but I need to just like sit down and kind of make myself get through that one, even if it ends up not being my favorite, just so I can keep making progress in the series, which is something I am trying to do this year. And then the only other 2 books that I already know I have to read, and then I'll pick one from my mug. One is I need to finish off Miss Marple's Final Cases, so I'm making my way through that. It's a short story collection, which will be the last book for Mission Marple. So I am both excited and sad to get to that. I've really enjoyed that project, mostly a rereading project, but also some first reads. It's been a good one. So working on that. And then the only other arc that I definitely need to get to this month is Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino, I believe is her name. And that is an essay collection that I've been working my way through. I'm enjoying it so far. Stay tuned. I've not gotten all that far into it, but good so far. So those 2 I need to get to, and then let's pick my mug choice for the month. Also, have we ever commented? I love this mug, the Reading is Sexy mug. I love this logo. Anytime I see things with this logo out and about, it makes me happy. Okay, so, well, I picked 2, so we'll just grab both of these. So we got Difficult Women by Roxane Gay, okay, and Stoner by John Williams. Okay, so those are 2 lit fic picks. Oh, and then we have, okay, then we have Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate Difficult Women, and I am going to say that I am going to attempt to get to, Stoner is going to be my official pick for the month, so I'm going to read Stoner between now and the next time we talk. I've also decided that I'm not going to read the first Mistborn book as this pick. I've decided that my first Brandon Sanderson is actually going to be Warbreaker, because just like based on, I mean, as we were talking about earlier, listening to a lot of people talking about fantasy recently on BookTube, and also generally after I picked this as my choice for the year, I actually went and did some research, and I think that picking Warbreaker, because it's a standalone, at least right now, and I don't know, just based on some of the like themes and stuff that people are talking about it, I think I'm more likely to enjoy that one as my first Sanderson pick. So I'm definitely gonna get to Stoner, and then if I can get through The Blade itself this month, my next audio pick after The Blade itself, I will go ahead and say it's gonna be Warbreaker. So definitely we'll get to Stoner. Gonna try, Warbreaker will just come up as the audio pick, my second next audio pick, basically. So all of that is plenty to be getting on with. If I have an opportunity, there are 4 other things that are kind of things I'd like to get to sometime in the next couple of weeks. One is Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is a historical romance that I'm really excited about, and I think the next time that mood strikes, I probably will go ahead and pick that one up. It comes out in September. Love the cover. I've heard really good things. Very excited for it. The next one is Mystery in White by Jefferson Farjeon, which will be my first by this author, even though I think I owned 3 different books from him. I want to get to this one because, like I said, in August, I'm hoping that my review theme for Isolated Close Circles can be snowed in on a train. And as you can see on the cover, snowed in on a train. So I'm hoping I can get to that. I would like to slot in Exit Strategy by Martha Wells, because this is the last of the Murderbot diaries, and I just love these. So I think on a night where I don't have it in me to get through a full, like a long book, this will be my little midweek work treat. And then the latest Nora Roberts standalone thriller came out this month, Undercurrents, which I'm very excited about. Oh, I just remembered that the next Adventure Zone graphic novel is coming out next week. I probably will read that also this month, especially since I already know what happens because I listen to the podcast. I will probably just do that. But anyway, so I love this. I may not get to this month. I may wait until next month, but in theory, this is one that I would also like to get to. So we'll see if I can slot those things in. And then finally, I do want to mention something about the Reading Rush. I started putting together a TBR for it, and I was looking through the things that I already knew I needed to get to, and I could make this work, guys. Like, Red, White, and Royal Blue. Here's a suggestion if you're looking for something that has 5 words or more in the title. The Lovely and the Lost. Purple on the cover. Also, 5 or more words in the title, so this could double count. I was thinking about Undercurrents as having purple on the cover. I was thinking about Exit Strategy as featuring a main character who is non-human, because Murderbot is, well, I think Murderbot is human, but they are some kind of android-human hybrid, so like that would count. And so if you've not read All Systems Red, this is a great opportunity to do so. Also, it would be a very easy book to read in one place. In terms of an adaptation, if you haven't read The Hunchback of Notre Dame, you could read this, and then you could go watch the Disney movie. I mean, like, I was going through it, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I have things that I want to read that I could make work for this. But I just realized that for whatever reason this year, the challenges just weren't really sparking my imagination that much, and I just wasn't excited about it. And so I come here to tell you, if you want, like, I will open this up in the comments. If you're struggling with one of the challenges and you're looking for a recommendation, I'm totally happy to help if people are looking for things to fill out their TBR, and I hope everybody enjoys it. And I've loved what it was Booktubeathon, and I wonder if some of this is just petulance that it's no longer Booktubeathon and it feels different this year. I don't know, but for whatever reason, it just wasn't capturing my imagination. And so I wanted to also just open up space of, like, if you just it's not going to work this year with your schedule. If you're like me and you just were like, I'm just not that into that this year, like, that's fine. Just because there's going to be a lot of people doing it doesn't mean that you have to. And yeah, I mean, I, in theory, will do it again next year, assuming that I'm in the mood to do it again next year. But this year, I'm just not feeling it, and that's okay. So yeah, I hope that if you were, like, I know part of why people like watching the TBRs is to get ideas, and I'm totally happy to help if there's one that you're stuck on. Read a book you meant to read last year. My stoner pick could be for that, because I've been meaning to read stoner every year for like 10 years. Let's see here. Read an author's first book. Of the things we've talked about today, the one that I would give as a recommendation for that would be The Poppy War, probably, or The Witch of Willow Hall. I talked about 2 first books for that today. Book with a non-human main character. Like I was saying, Murderbot could be a good suggestion for that. The Kingdom also has like an android kind of situation. I mean, not strictly speaking, but the main character in My Favorite Thing is Monsters draws herself as a werewolf, so I don't know, you could maybe stretch that and make that work that way. A book that has 5 or more words in the title, I mentioned a few. The Widow of Pale Harbor would work. The Witch of Willow Hall would work. There's, plenty of examples out there. And then book to movie adaptations, girl, we are lousing with them, right? I mean, like, there are so many. I mean, I guess, again, the one that I've mentioned so far today would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame. We also talked about Bird Box today. There's an adaptation. There's so many. So anyway, I know that that's one of the reasons why people like watching people's TBRs. So I'm definitely open to help. If you are struggling on a category, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to help out with that. But yeah, I just wanted to give myself permission to not have to do it, even though I normally do. And just say that publicly in case you're needing to give yourself permission to not do it, either because you don't have time or you're just not in the mood. So anyway, that's what I had to say about that. I do hope everybody who participates has a great time. It's a great, like, community building event, I feel like, every year, so I hope everybody really enjoys that. But it's just not in the cards, I think, for me this year, which is fine. So that is pretty much it for the month of July. I'm hoping that I keep up this momentum, because if so, I might actually get through all of the books that I mentioned as things that I want to read this month. We shall see. I think it's achievable, actually, I feel like, this month, because a lot of what I want to read is pretty easy to slot in. So we'll see. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are having a great July so far, and I think that will do it. So if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all of that information listed in the description box below. I will also link to the Reading Rush if you want to look at the challenges, because I do want to support it in terms of I think that it's great even if I'm not doing it this year. So I will link to that below. Hope you guys are having an absolutely lovely day, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!